Recording video now. Audio is now recording. Here we go, everybody. We're counting it down in 3, 2, 1.
They came in an instant. They destroyed everything. My people. My friends. My home. All I have left is vengeance. Unreal Tournament 3 includes Gears of War 2 sneak peek.
Not really. We just couldn't find a commercial. I couldn't find a commercial for the 99 one. They don't exist. Hey everybody, welcome to Play Retro. This is Play Retro for Friday, February 2nd, 2024. And I'm one of your hosts here, Scott Johnson. And here, the deal. I just insta-gibbed you in space where you belong. All right, so your guts are flying through space. Ultra kill, you might even say, is what I achieved there. You'll have to find and fire off the Redeemer and do it right at me to get points at this stage. So don't worry about it too much. Oh, look, I have 3 rockets loaded in my launcher, and you'll soon taste all of them at the same time. Butts and bots in the air, fellas. My flak gun take no flak.
Oh my God, that's like an entire game with you. That's the conversation. That's like him. That's like the spew you do.
That's a whole match right there. That's a whole match on Facing Worlds from beginning to end, and I win and you lose. That's the deal.
Yes, that's it. And I'm your other host, Brian Dunaway, and I just dialed up the DPI on my mouse to 2000 and remapped my movement keys to WSAD as God intended, and now ready to enjoy a nice, relaxing night of And I'm Dead. Where's my sniper rifle, damn it? And I'm dead. All right. If anyone is looking for me, I'll be delivering headshots in Facing Worlds. And I'm dead. Mommy.
Yep.
Mommy.
Best map in the history of the game. Right there.
Yeah.
I don't even know who made that. I think it was not Epic. It was nobody at Epic. I think it was a fan thing. Wasn't it? And then Epic took it and made their own version.
I think you're thinking of okay, so I believe, if I'm not mistaken, boy, and I can't remember, is it the guy who designed the bot who made that? It was somebody that was working at Epic. There is Facing Worlds 2. You're right, there is a huge amount of community input.
Yeah.
So if they started out, they could have started out as fans. It's entirely possible.
Yeah,
but I believe that one
may have been internal. I can never remember, but there was enough. Then people would make their kind of own spins on it. They would take that exact map and they'd change the geometry of the map and do it their own way. And then in 03 and 04, so Unreal Tournament 2003 and Unreal Tournament 2004 both introduced new versions of that map, and even 3 had a version of it that I thought was awesome. Nobody else in the community liked it, but I liked it. And then that's kind of all we ever got. So
anytime you can put me in space on a big giant rock, and then we can play some Capture the Flag, where all we're doing is just running headlong into each other's faces, and with tons of spots to hide and snipe people. Dude,
yeah, why wouldn't you?
It's got everything. It's so frustrating because it's like there's such a moment where you're like just squinching your butthole trying to run across the open area going, oh, please. Oh, God, please. Don't snipe me.
Yeah, please don't.
It's just so good.
Yeah, it's so very, very good. And as well it should be. I am going to make a quick recommendation before we get to our main topic today. Excuse me. And that is this. Everybody's been talking about Palworld like it's the new hot thing. And it kind of is. It takes a few genres, mixes them together, but mainly... Yeah. I think a lot of people are attracted to it because of the entire Pokemon draw of the thing, because it looks like a bunch of Pokemon and they have guns and ha hoo hoo hee hee. I haven't been able to play it because I don't care that much.
You haven't played it yet?
I played it a little bit. I just was like, I don't want to play this. So.
I played it and I got a hot take, but go ahead, finish your
sentence. All right. So here's what I wanted to tell people to do. There's a game out there that is my favorite Pokemon-like. And it's called Monster Sanctuary. Back when Brian and I were doing the Boop Show, we talked about this game in much more detail.
We both loved it.
It's a fantastic game. And I started playing this again the other day, decided to do a fresh run, played a ton back when it first came out. And I had forgotten just how much I love Monster Sanctuary.
It's so freaking beautiful. If you're into retro games, you're going to feel right at home here. It's a modern game, but it's got that retro aesthetic.
Yeah, it's very 16-bit looking, very well animated. It's essentially a Metroidvania meets a Pokemon-like, and the combo is fantastic. So if you ever get a chance to grab it or get it on sale or whatever, it's not very expensive to start with. You can get it on Switch. You can get it on consoles, and I think it's still on Game Pass. It is on Game Pass, and of course, Steam is where I'm playing it. I'm playing on my Steam Deck, so
yeah,
it's good stuff.
And the battle stuff is very satisfying. It's a lot of fun. So
yeah, they also take out stuff
they
take out stuff I hate about Pokemon. Like I love that in Monster Sanctuary, my creatures heal themselves after a fight. That's what I want.
Yes.
I want that every time.
Yes.
You may say, well, Scott, you're a wuss then. You don't understand what it's like to be a true Pokemon fan. Fine, whatever. I don't like it.
trainer.
Yeah, I don't want to do that stuff. I hate it. I hate having too many items. There's still items. The game has a ton of them, but they're mostly proactive and not reactive items, and I like that better.
Yes.
Game is really, really good.
It really is. It plays a lot faster. So I mean, yeah, in that way, it is kind of like maybe Pokemon Arcade. You know, it kind of it does a lot of things for you, but it's a lot faster and it's just fun. If you just hop in and do it, I love it.
Yep. The reviews are really strong.
But my hot take on Palworld, just real quick.
Yeah.
The old Nintendo that I loved hate. I don't know if Nintendo is still the people I love hate anymore. If I was Nintendo back in the day, what they would have done is they would have just went to the developers of Palworld and go, okay, you have to change some things. And on top of that, what we're going to do is we're going to bring you in because this is obviously a very good formula and it's working for you. We want you to work with us to make a proper Pokemon game in the future.
They won't do that.
Like a Pokemon world. I know they won't now, but the old Nintendo would have. They would have definitely thought about it.
I don't know if they would have.
I mean, here's a bunch of young developers.
Nintendo and Game Freak have been on this IP for what, 30 plus years, 35 years, whatever it is. So I don't know. They seem pretty tight-fisted about it. I would hope you're right.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, I'm not saying this is what Nintendo's going to do.
Yeah.
I'm saying that there was a time when Nintendo was smart about this stuff, and they would have said, "All right, look, you found a good formula. You did the work for us. Come on board. We're going to need you to change some stuff because we're going to be in a partnership. So you're going to have to make all that changes that because we're going to come out with a Pokemon world because that's what people really want.
Yeah.
Fix your crap."
Yeah, you know who really did that though already, or who did that? A good example of that was Sega recently with Sonic. I just forgot the name again. I told you pre-show. What was it? Sonic.
The colors?
Chaos.
Sonic Colors?
Not colors.
Chaos. Oh yeah,
not Chaos.
Was it Chaos?
What the frick is it?
No, that's not right. Sonic. That's the problem with Sonic.
Damn it!
Too many names.
I cannot remember the name, but anyway, it's the one where the hacker ROM hack crew or the ROM hack people, like that community, were working on this thing. And Sega said, we really like what you've done here. In fact, we're going to bring you in and have you do this with us. And they helped publish it. So more of that, Nintendo, you dipshits. How about that?
I'm not sure how far Palworld is going to go if they can't get the bugs under control as quickly as possible. Because it's still ganky. I've played it. It definitely feels to me like there's a great game loop there. But I have run into some roadblocks where I'm like, this is kind of ganky. How about I fix this? And it's fun, but the gank can only be fun for so long for me. And if you're not actively fixing stuff, and they are, but
they seem to be.
They're unproven. Yeah. They're unproven at this point. So we just got to wait and watch.
Well, they got a lot of money now, so I hope they spend it wisely because they sold a shit ton of those games. Nicely done.
They really
fellas.
did.
Crash in the chat room says we're trying to talk about Sonic Mania. That is correct. That's the one. Sonic Mania's got
a
whole bunch of like cool hackery stuff that they included in it that makes it so much fun. It's really, really good. Brian,
perhaps
you got something.
Sega will one day name Sonic games in a way that makes them easy to remember.
Like Sonic, what's the new one? Sonic. See, I can't do it.
You know what I mean?
It doesn't set them apart. There's a reason people use numbers. When they use numbers, we remember because it's easy. It's like, oh, that's 5, that's 6, that's 7. But instead, I got to go, okay, new Sonic game is called.
And it's always stuff like Chaos or Sonic, like Sonic, like, I don't know.
Because there's Frontiers. There's Frontiers. That's the 3D one that just came out last year. Then you got the new one late last year, which is the 2D side-scrolly 2.5D one. That one's called Generations, I think.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry.
You're just making up words.
Sonic X Shadow Generations is the one that just got announced yesterday. Sonic Frontiers is the one from last year. Where is it? It's called Can't Find It. Well, great.
It's called Can't Find It. What I usually do is I just look up Sonic 2024 game or 2023 game.
Yeah. The problem is
it's much easier for me to do it by years. I can kind of narrow it down usually with that.
Sonic Dream Team, Sonic.
Ooh,
3D Sonic game. What's this called? Well, anyway, we've all forgotten.
Well, you know the thing.
Listen, you bought a thing and got it, and I'm jealous. Tell people what it is, because I want
I
one.
bought a thing because I've been wanting this thing for a very long time, and I finally did it. I bought the analog pocket. Now, what is the analog pocket? Well, it's just what it sounds like. It's a device that fits in your pocket, kind of, sort of. Uses the FPGA type of hardware emulation, like I talk about all the time with the Mr. FPGA. And so it has very accurate emulation. Out of the box, it mostly plays Nintendo Game Boy games like Game Boy Color, Game Boy, the Game Boy games. There you go.
Yeah,
Color,
it's that
Game Boy
that
Color, that's almost
cartridge,
got it for it.
that pin configuration for as long as they
shape.
used it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And also it'll take Sega Game Gear games, but I have to buy an adapter. It'll also do some other systems as well. You can buy adapters. But this is just a small, real chunky device that's got backlighting on it. It's got that the size format you would be used to with a Game Boy. It feels really good. And you would say, well, Brian, you have all these other, the Ambernic RG 35XX. Well, this is different because this is it's got a narrower focus for me. And that makes me happy because it's more accurate. I won't run into as many weird things.
I think
right?
the thing I like about what I've seen, and I've only seen it, not held it, but having looked at it, there's a real quality build, industrial build to the thing, which I really, really like that. Not plasticky, not hunky, not junky.
And you get these. I bought the docking station so I can plug it into the HDMI and I can play this, output it to, I think it'll actually go, is it 2K? I think it'll do 2K, maybe 4K. I'm not sure. I'll have to look.
Yeah.
But it's a nice size and format, heavy, chunky. And I'm excited about taking a deeper look at it. Just got it yesterday though. I'll tell you this. The one thing that was keeping me from ordering it for the longest time was they kept going, lead time is like 6 months. And I'm like, oh,
yeah, I was annoyed by that.
Don't want to give me my money now and then wait 6 months. I don't know if I have the kind of patience for that and worrying about it all the time. Is it shipping out now? Is it shipping out now? But it was only 30 days. I ordered it in January and they said it'd be here in February, and it arrived February the 1st.
Nice.
Through UPS, second day. Air came out of California. I had to pay some people in China when I first ordered it. My credit card did not like that at all, and they canceled it, and so I had to go back and order it again. But the turnaround's a lot faster now if you're looking for an analog pocket.
Nice.
I wish the color ones were available. They're not available right now. All they had to choose from were the black and the white ones. I went with the black because I am just afraid of white. White scares me because I'm going to get something on it.
Yeah.
I just can't do it. Black. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
A lot of stuff. Oh,
yeah.
But that, and I want to say, the money that I save from getting an analog pocket instead of getting something even cooler, I was able to go to GameStop, who was having a big sale on all their stinking hats. They were clearancing them here at my GameStop.
Yeah.
GameStop has changed a lot. I haven't been in there probably a year.
Yeah, it's real different.
Of course, they still sell the physical games and stuff, but they've really focused on their pop vinyl stuff, especially their pop vinyl stuff. As a matter of fact, when I was in there, I don't know if the guy behind the counter is full of shit or not, but he was saying like, yeah, we're trying to bop, the pop vinyl people. We're going to do all. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever, man. How much are these hats?
Wait, those guys, cool, you're saying GameStop's going to buy the pop vinyl people?
That's what the guy behind the counter said. Now, remember, this is a guy behind the counter at GameStop.
Yeah. I remember a guy behind the counter at a GameStop in the late 90s that told me that Sega was about to buy Nintendo. So he didn't know anything about nothing. Yes.
So I'm just saying, but I picked up a lot of cool hats. They had this Overwatch hat. I love that. I picked up this Charmander hat, Pokemon Charmander. I got an Umbreon hat because, I said when I get this analog pocket, I'm going to go through all the Game Boy Color Pokemon games I have, which is a lot. And I'm going to try to finish them. So that's my goal. And I figured I might as well wear some Pikachu hats.
Yeah.
Blue Pikachu hat. Then I got an Eevee. Yeah, look at that one. Got little ears on it. Got that. And then, sexy. Has nothing to do with Pokemon. Look at that. I love this Sega Sonic hat. This is my favorite.
Yeah. Look at that. He's the blazing little
blue
ball.
Red. Yeah, little. Yep, got a little some kind of language I don't know how to read.
I don't dare wear red hats. You're braver than me. I can't wear a red hat.
Could say ass butt for all I know. Sonic ass butt is what it could be saying. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it might be. But these red hats, you're brave. You're a brave soul in today's climate.
Oh, you think so? You don't think the red? Oh, because the
Yeah, I don't want to wear a red hat
yeah,
ever
but
again.
this doesn't look anything like those basic red hats. This has got a cool, black bill on it, and it's got a big old Charmander on the front. I
Look,
mean, no one's gonna mistake that. This looks more like sports fonts, right? It looks like a sports font.
If that helps
the back
you,
of it got sports fonts.
If that lets you sleep at night, that's fine. That's good. I'm just kidding. It's totally fine. Make red hats great again. All right, let's do that.
So I feel so much better, dude.
Yeah.
I had all this pin up inside of me, and I just
you had to let it
all out. There you go.
Yeah, you had to let it out. I get it. The analog pocket was burning a hole in your pocket.
Now
what?
You don't know. I was wanting to do an unboxing video, and so I got it yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I can't open it because I need time to do an unboxing video. And then I did it, and it was just terrible. I don't have a setup. My setup is terrible for unboxing videos. I don't know how people do it, because you have to be so zoomed in, and there's dust on everything. I'm like, oh my God, is everything this dusty? I'm trying to get all the lights turned up, and I'm like, what is this? And I'm trying to get everybody else's videos on YouTube for unboxings. They look pristine, and I'm like, am I just a filthy person?
The answer is yes.
No.
Yes, the answer is yes.
I just don't have the proper setup. The lights are a little too harsh.
Sure.
I gotta work on the situation. But the unboxing's too late. I just ripped it. Finally, I just said, forget it. And I just popped it all open and played with it.
Take that, patrons. That's how much we love you. Brian was gonna get you a video.
No, I'm gonna the patrons. The unboxing video was gonna be a YouTube video for all to see. The patron stuff is gonna be my first impressions of the Analog Pocket over this weekend. That
I like it.
Is Patreon content.
That is Patreon content. And listen, chat room, if you guys hang around today, we're going to play a couple matches of Unreal Tournament after the show today. Okay. So not only are we going to talk about Unreal Tournament here in a moment, but we're going to play that game on this stream. So you're welcome to hang around with us.
Yeah, retrogib.com if you want information on how to join the server. You too.
Yeah, if you want to play with us.
Hop on.
Yeah, that'd be fine. I don't want it to be just me, Brian, and bots. It'd be nice if a few of you were real.
Oh. Scott.
Yeah.
I turned the bots up really high.
Oh shit.
They're kind of mean.
What was the scale? I forget. Do you know it by heart?
There's like 6 different it mostly has to do with skill. So it's like adept or
godlike
expert,
or something.
that kind of stuff. Yeah, godlike I think is the final. That's Zan. That's who you would face if you were if you made it all the way to Unreal Tournament. You could in the single player. The bot Zan is who you end up against. So
okay, I found it. It's novice.
Not that I've ever made it.
No, of course not. So I found it. It's novice, average, experienced, skilled, adept, masterful, inhuman, and godlike.
Yes.
Listen to this. These are stats. This is interesting. You know what? We're going to start our thing. Because I'm going to read this in that.
Shall we play a game?
Yeah, we're going to play a game. We're going to talk about Unreal Tournament from 1999, a game that was seminal in my lifetime. It was a huge hit for me.
Let's get it started here. Brian was a Quake Arena guy.
Yep.
I feel like Quake and the Quake series, I've been trying to define it in my head all week. And I think I've kind of come down to right now, I consider Quake in this series to be sci-fi fantasy, where I feel like Unreal is more like just sci-fi. Like sci-fi.
Kind of. Yeah, that's fair. It's sci-fi. It's a brutal future where it's a future sport, You're killing each other for money. It's basically Running Man, but multiple people playing it or whatever. That's the concept anyway. But Unreal 1 is very fantasy sci-fi. Like it's got all kinds of tropes in that zone.
I thought it was mostly like Aliens. What are they called? They're
right here somewhere.
See, I
hold
didn't
on.
play much Unreal.
Unreal 1 had hold on, I'm trying to remember the name. What are the bad guys called? They are called not the Vortex.
The Zargons.
Scourge.
Scourge. That's it. That's it. Scourge.
Skaarj. So Scourge.
Yeah, but they're aliens, right?
Yeah, they're aliens. But it's also kind of gothic in some ways. Like there's castles and shit in that game. I don't know. Like Quake has a mix of this stuff. So did it. And I loved Quake. Don't get me wrong. Quake 1 and 2 were my jam. But when this came out alongside Unreal Tournament, or excuse me, Quake 3 Arena. There's the biggest Coke Pepsi fight in video game history at the time. It was such a big deal. And everybody's like, no way, dude, Quake all the way. And other people are like, no way, Unreal Tournament. Bots are better. This is better. These modes are better, whatever. Lots of back and forth. I played both, but I ended up playing way more Unreal Tournament than I did Quake 3. Just way more.
Right.
And I respect Quake 3. It's fine for what it was. They were both multiplayer focused releases, these two games. They barely had a semblance of a single player element to them. And I actually still kind of think that's a problem both ways, but Unreal Tournament ended up kind of putting me on the path that I'm at now in terms of like just content creation and getting into podcasting and all of that. It all came from my interest in that game and a mod for that game that I got part of the team with, and we started doing little radio shows for, and I was just so into it. Everything about Unreal and I were the best friends.
It's same with me. Content creation, when I first discovered that you could do something productive as a fan. Both of these franchises, Quake and Unreal, were giving out the tools that they use to create these games. At a certain point, the engine's underneath it, and then they give you these tools to, like the Unreal editor. There's a Quake editor. You can get in there, make your own maps, skins, and you can basically make the game anything you want to be. Sort of kind of like how Minecraft is for people today. And it was definitely a place where it's like, oh, I feel like I belong here. You've given me these tools that are not only cool, I can share them with my friends, and we can just, laugh and have a good time. And it's amazing community experience.
Yeah. Run your own servers, run your own map rotations, tweak around with the mutator system that were built into it. Plus,
the mutators is something I really liked. Was not aware of. I did not ever play much Unreal Tournament. I played a little, but not very much. I did not know before 2 weeks ago, before I learned how to set up a server for Unreal Tournament, I didn't even know what a mutator was. They're kind of like mini mods. I was used to more being in the Quake world where, you had full mods. But the mutators are just like little mods to, maybe the weapon or
they just tweak the gameplay. We would play Instagib low gravity, which was this combination of the low gravity mutator and the Instagib mutator. And that is a really fun combination. Single shot kills basically. And that was too much fun to freaking write home about. It was so good. The thing is though, the mutator system and the batch of, initial mutators, that was all built into the game. That was just part of the product, whereas others would come along later and say, oh, yeah, well, you should have put this in there, and they would add something new and whatever. But, I made a few maps. I had, tournaments with my friends. I had a clan at one point called...
Yes, that would be very like 2005 to like 2010 or so. Everybody had a clan, right? So it's
we started in 99 with this game, and we started that clan that same year. Right. So we probably went to 05 with that clan. Which
Clans was very big
2 years before, or a year or two before Unreal 3 came out, which didn't succeed at the level listed. But we kept it going through Unreal Tournament 2003 and then 04. 04 was probably the pinnacle of the series, if you ask me.
Yes.
It got real good, had some really amazing team modes, had vehicles.
We were stepping into what would soon be Halo, right? I mean, vehicles and stuff, and we're getting outside. Everything we've done up until this point, especially in Unreal Tournament, is corridor fighting with some outdoor stuff, but the outdoor stuff is limited to platforms and you're not able to go but so far.
Yeah,
right?
there's just arena shooters and stuff, but like big outdoor environments, and that was coming soon. In fact, I mean, Quake came out, Unreal Tournament came out just a year and a half before Halo did on Xbox. So they're all kind of tightly connected. This whole era.
They're all borrowing from each other, right?
Oh, for sure. Like you cannot look at Unreal Tournament and not see the influences from Quake, and you also cannot look at further iterations of Quake or Doom even and see the influences there. Like the idea of alternate fire just didn't exist before Unreal Tournament. They invented it, really, in a very commercial way.
I love alternate. Yeah, I didn't know much about alternate fire until this past week, and I really enjoyed that. Alternate fire courses, when your left mouse button is, if you mapped it that way, would be your primary fire, and then your alternate fire will be your right mouse button typically. And each one of these weapons would typically have two modes of shooting, and it at first it was kind of confusing to me, and then I was like, oh, okay, this is really takes it to the next level, and I missed out on this.
Well, even the Redeemer, which is the gun, it's basically their equivalent of a BFG 5000 or 3000 or whatever, that would just take everybody else at once. It's a nuke, a tactical nuke, that if you are in range of it or not, hidden well enough, you will die after its impact. Even that had alternate fire. It had the main fire, which just shot the missile, bam, or you alt fire it, and now you're a camera inside the missile, and you steer it to your destination. It's an amazing idea.
And I didn't know this because I just first of all, the first time I ran across that thing, I was in a closed space, and you're supposed to shoot between two beams, and every time I would get it, I would end up killing myself very quickly. And I was like, what is this big ass gun?
Mm-hmm.
And then I noticed that I'd be playing sometimes, someone else would get it, and instead of the rocket coming through the air, it'd be doing all these weird 45 90-degree angle turns. Like you'd be watching, like, what's that thing doing? It was somebody guiding it, and I didn't realize that. But it's all fish flopping around in space coming at me, and I didn't realize I needed to fear it. But then once I discovered, someone's driving that dang thing.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, now
people are in there, and there was a tactical reason why you would choose to do that or not, and the game was full of that sort of thing. So if you're using the Flak cannon,
now was your body exposed? I haven't actually accomplished it. But
no, you're just remote. Oh yes, you are just standing there when this is happening. Yes.
Okay.
So you could die and it happened a lot. If somebody found you while you were piloting a Redeemer, which had a limited range anyway, you couldn't go forever. They could sneak up on you and shoot you in the head, and then your Redeemer, I think it would just blow up where it was.
Even better.
Yeah, I think that's how it worked. It's been
amazing.
a while, but the Flak cannon is an example. That's one of my favorite weapons of all time in any shooter, and the concept is at a baseline that thing is a shotgun, and you use it like a shotgun for close range combat. But then when people start getting a little further away, you start right clicking and it lobs grenades, little explosive grenades at them,
which are very effective. They're like balls, right? They're not like long grenades
they're like little shells. It's hard to explain, but they have a limited range, but they're really fun.
It's like a thermal nuclear detonator, like Princess Leia would be carrying to Jabba the Hutt's.
Yeah, it's basically that size. Yeah, and the nice thing was, like, if you did the rocket thing where you launched that alt fire was just filling it up with 3 rockets and then letting go. That's a different way of doing it, but the rest of the guns almost always were like the rail gun was essentially shoot out a big orb with right click, and then if you hit the orb with the main fire while it's like in range of 3 or 4 players, you could kill them all with one shot. So it had like an AoE thing, but it was a really hard skill shot to make. Otherwise, you would just use regular main fire to pick people off, hit them in the head, whatever. The weirdest thing about this game, though, dude, it always freaked me out, or just seems so strange to me. The guns in the game all make sense as big sci-fi weirdo weapons, right? Interesting designs. Right. This rocket launcher's weird. All this stuff's weird. But for some reason, the sniper rifle was the most basic ass looking military thing. It's so weird.
It really was. It's now we're talking about Brian's favorite weapon, the sniper rifle. And you're like, oh, Brian, you just like to go camp somewhere and snipe. Yeah, I like that, but that's not the main thing. That thing is very powerful. And once you get experienced at it, it's like a railgun in Quake. You can just run around with it. You don't have to zoom in and scope anybody. I can just run around, headshot. With this. It's a little slow on the reload. So if you miss, you're probably dead. But it's a really effective weapon. You're right. It's a very simple, basic weapon compared to these big guns. The gun models are pretty cool. If you get a good look at them, you'll see all kinds of readouts on the side. The attention to detail is actually really
it's pretty
impressive.
good.
The Unreal Engine itself is amazing.
Yeah, the meshes probably don't hold up so well in these times, but they for what they were when they were really creative and interesting, and it felt like what they were doing over on Quake were real kind of basic. It's like, oh, okay, there's your shotgun. Yes. I've seen that before. Okay, you got a pistol. Cool. You got your, I don't know.
Got a lightning gun. I love a lightning gun.
I do
lightning
too.
Gun will go a long way.
Yeah, this game's got one too, but it's more like a weird green beam thing.
Yes, and that's the ultimate fire on that one. It's like is that a plasma or something? And it's like if you, or the other one's the plasma blows up. I forget the exact terms, but you'll know
that's the goo gun, the green one that shoots out goo balls. Yeah,
yeah, that's it's like a bio gun or something, right? And it explodes. The goo explodes after a certain amount of time. But the one you're talking about, the lightning gun, I really like that. Is because it'll reach behind crates, because people behind crates going, hey, you can't hit me, like
yeah,
and it's like, oh, you're dead, buddy.
You're dead. You're toast. Did you play? So I don't know what the full rotation is on the server that you got running, but did you play a bunch of Facing Worlds up there in the?
Yes, actually, I didn't when I first started, because when I first started, once I set the server up and was doing all my testing, I was just going through the maps that that was presented, just random maps. But then once people started coming in, and there was a lot of people this past Monday, we had a full server, up to 16 slots. And people kept voting, because I set up the voting mechanism, so we could vote on things. And Facing Worlds was coming up constantly in rotation for Capture the Flag, and I immediately got it. I'm like, oh, okay, I see why this is so cool.
So good.
And
so good.
You can tell a lot of the people that were playing are people who played a lot in the back of the day, but haven't reestablished their complete skills yet. Because I've noticed people have slowly started using the teleport disc. So there's like a weapon that you cast out a disc.
It's called a translocator, and that thing's a dick.
Yeah, translocator.
Freaking hate
it's a
that
dick.
thing.
And on Facing Worlds, it's a super dick, because people are trying to snipe you, of course, and you're just skidding across, because you'll throw it and you'll zoom, zoom, and you'll go across so fast.
People that were good with that made me mad. Like, they were so good with that thing, and I was terrible at it. So when I was running my server back in the day, there was a mutator to turn that damn thing off, and I did every time. Hated it.
Oh, I can't do it. We're turning it off.
Yeah, it was like too much of a skill shot that I just could not get my head around ever. I never got good with it. Yeah. So I just said, you know what, guys, we're not playing with that thing. It's my server. That thing's off.
Oh, I love that Scott goes with this is not a democracy. I set up voting so we could vote on everything.
Yeah, you're a much more democratic server runner than I am. That's true.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. It's like, I don't care, because there's always the good thing about a lot of these games. If it's a good game in Unreal and Quake and all that, they're really good at this balancing. So if you have something that seems ridiculously overpowered, it'd probably only be overpowered for about 5 minutes until somebody figures out another way to get to that person who's effing around, like sniping.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. You can only get away with using that thing for so long, and you can't fire while you're using it. That's the other thing, is you can't shoot. Although you can do some pretty sneaky stuff about fire it over here in this secret place. No one saw me do it. And then switch to a weapon, fight for a while, switch back, and then translocate to the safe space. People did little tricks like that all the time. It just made me pissed. And you also can't use it while you have a flag. If you have the flag, you cannot use the translocator, which is only fair.
Capture the Flag, if you've... Capture the Flag is still... It's not the thing I go for first. I'm always like, what do you want to play? Let's play some deathmatch. And I'm always like, when somebody says, let's play Capture the Flag, because some people are like, us, all they want to play is Capture the Flag.
That's me. I love Capture the Flag. Huge fan.
Yeah. And I'll get into it, and I'm like, first I'm like, oh, I don't want to Capture the Flags. It's so stupid. But then after a while, I'm like, oh God, let's play some more Capture the Flag.
Yeah. And, there's a team aspect of it that you cannot replicate in any other mode. I just love how you have to work together for it.
I like the Assault version too, because I don't think there was anything. It's been a while since I played Quake 3, but I don't remember Assault exactly. So Assault is where you have mission-based objectives, and you're playing teams. The way I played anyway. There's a beachhead storming, and one that we played. It was a lot of fun. People kept picking, and usually there's automatic guns that are just firing for that team, and then once you get to a certain, I think it's all Assault, but once you're trying to storm and destroy or hit the base in a certain area, and then once you've accomplished it, once your team has accomplished it, and there's the timer that times all of that, and then it flips sides, and then the other goes for the offensive, and they only have that many minutes to accomplish the task. And some people remembered a lot about those places, because I was running around on a boat going, what am I supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
And then it flipped, and then they went straight to it. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
Once you know that secret, I guess you just know it.
I also thought at the time, I don't know, I'm a little less weird about it now, but at the time it felt like the Unreal maps and the geometry looked better than Quake. But it was a better tech, but they were both pretty good. They were all right,
Oh, both were. I always felt like I said, I'd been in the economy of Quake for so long. I never played Unreal. I played Unreal Tournament, so I had I had no
Yeah.
knowledge of what Unreal was doing. As a matter of fact, I didn't know until recently that I think it's Steve Polgay, the programmer who did the Reaper bots,
Yeah.
which is the great selling point of this. All this for the tournament, it was supposed to just be an add-on pack for Unreal. It wasn't even supposed to be a full game, Unreal Tournament. But these Reaper bots were so freaking tasty as an add-on to Unreal. They was like, okay, let's make a full game.
Yeah.
And they did.
Which is pretty great.
And,
Here are the guns, by the way. I have a list, and I'll tell you what they do. The impact hammer, kind of useless, but it's basically a piston-powered melee weapon. In the right hands, it's useful, but I hate that. I can't stand that weapon. It sucks.
I only found it useful one time, and it was a glitch. We do have anti-cheats set up on the server, but I had alt-tabbed out of my Unreal Tournament screen accidentally. I was like, shoot, and I popped back in, and for some reason, it was stuck on like this auto fire. So I was like, what's going on? I was like, stop it. I mean, I was shooting rockets, and I was like, stop shooting the rockets. And it was right down in the middle of the match. And I was like, this is stupid. And I was about ready to quit. And so I ran out of rockets, and so I switched my weapons, my little scroll mouse wheel, and I got to the little impact hammer thing. And that thing is awesome if you've got an auto chunk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's what it was doing. I was just running around. And I was actually killing people for the first time.
Yeah.
With that stupid thing. And I was like, oh, I see why people cheat now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just going like in this repeated pattern of chang. And it was pretty effective.
Yeah. Also, it can also be used in to deflect other weaponry. So if someone's shooting at you and you're out of anything good, you can use it to deflect incoming projectiles. We got to time it right. With your trigger pulls and stuff. There's the chainsaw, which basically isn't it? Let's see, multiplayer practice. Chainsaw melee modifier is set if the impact hammer is replaced by a rusty, blood-covered chainsaw. The disadvantage to the chainsaw is that it is noisy and enemies hear you coming.
I think that was part of the. So you got the game of the year edition. Of Unreal Tournament, which I ordered off eBay, by the way. I got the 2-disc set. The first disc contains the original game, and then the second one comes with the Chaos Unreal Tournament, which adds some of these things that you're talking about, like the chainsaw. We haven't activated that mutator on the server yet because we're still just trying to get the basics down right now. But all like the swords and like you're probably going to talk about here in a second, but I'm pretty interested. I ordered this off eBay, got it for about $25. And the only reason why I did is because I started getting panicky when I was trying to find a legit copy of this online, because I had the Steam version, but I was wanting to test it in several different ways. Like I wanted to test it in Linux. I wanted to test it in my emulation software, my virtualization software using Windows XP. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to need to order this thing. So I did, because these are even kind of getting rare on
hard
eBay.
to get. Yeah.
And I was like, what is going on here? And the price is still at $25, but man, is like, I only saw a handful of listings, and I'm like, oh man, this is about to just disappear.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm going to do, because Epic, pulled it from, as we know, me and you know, they pulled it from the Steam and the good old game store.
They pulled it from everything. Yeah.
Can get it. They pulled it from everything.
Yeah.
So
if you own them there, you still can play them there. But if you didn't buy them before the pulling or the delisting, you can't download them on those services anymore.
Yeah, and it's only a matter of time before they just pull it completely, right? And I was like,
well, if the way it works with Steam, if you bought it, you own it, and they can't by their policy take it back. But we'll see. I've never seen them do it yet, and this is a pretty old game, I suppose they could try.
Yeah.
But I already own this thing in multiple disc formats, and so rather than go dig them out of a box somewhere, because I know I have it here, I just went and did the archive.org thing. That worked fine.
Yeah. But several people had told me, because I had said, go to archive.org, and they said I saw some, but some people in the comments were saying that it looked suspicious and that kind of stuff, and so I compared my ISO to the ones that we had seen on our server. And I'm like, okay, this looks legit. The one we said on retrogib.com. I can't guarantee anything, of course.
No, it's hard to.
So,
I wish they would just support it. I wouldn't even mind if I had to use the Epic Store to play these things. They just don't give. There's no option over there. to have them.
There's a little game you've heard of that destroyed it all. It's called Fortnite. Suck it, Fortnite.
Eat that, Fortnite. They pulled that whole team off the Unreal reboot they were making and put them on
2014.
Fortnite. Piss ants. Makes me mad.
And
they still have a whole page with a bunch of graphics and a bunch of PR material and all this stuff about this upcoming Unreal game. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Just
What a
straight up
snub.
Yeah, total snub. Just pulled that thing right out from underneath us. It pisses me off. Here are your other weapons. The Enforcer is your pistol. It's your starter ranged weapon. Instant reload, can be dual wielded, does 10 damage. It's kind of a little weenie gun in terms of damage, but it is a fun weapon.
Until you get the dual wield, then it is kind of effective, especially if you do the alt fire, which is where you're holding it old 90s gang era type shooting where you hold it sideways. It causes more damage and it fires faster that way, but it's less accurate. But if you have two of them,
the thing's awesome. Love it. Another one to be considered with or to think about occasionally is the bio rifle. This fires lumps of sludge at enemies, shoots a single glob with alt fire.
Slime.
And the alt fire is pretty cool because it kind of blows up and will hurt everybody or a number of people if they stand too close to it.
Yeah.
It's not a weapon I like to use as anything primary, but it can create some chaos and it's pretty fun. It's a good time.
I usually only use it when you feel like sometimes it's like, do they even know I'm here right now? When you're playing with 16 people and suddenly they're all on each other and they don't even see you. Sometimes even just run right past you because they're so focused on some gathering point that they're trying to get back there. And I'll be like, hey, what are you guys doing? And so I'll just, that's when I like that gun and I'll follow them and I'll just ooze them all up.
Yep. Nothing wrong with that.
And watch them explode.
Above that one, you have the ASMD shock rifle. And this fires a high-speed laser bolt at your opponents, fires a beam at an enemy and instantly hits them, which is your primary fire. Your alt fire is that big old fat ball that slowly rolls into a hallway, and then you can pop it and kill people.
Which is deceptive because when you first discover you can do it, because it tells you in the tutorial, it's like, oh, okay, cool. So you shoot it, and then you wait for it to get halfway across the screen, and then you shoot the alt fire and it comes in and explodes right and be like, oh, that is cool. I can't wait to use that. And there's just no way because when you start getting in a real match and you're strafing and turning, you got to hold still. You can't catch that second fire unless you're I don't know, you gotta be a super shot, super shot, but it's bad.
Yeah, it is pretty bad. I'll now tell you about the go ahead.
Shot.
Yeah, headshot. We'll get to that in a sec because I got a whole bunch of audio for that. The pulse gun comes next. Or sorry, not the pulse gun. Yeah, it is the pulse gun. Wait, is this the one? Hold on. Yeah, that's fire blobs of scorching plasma at an enemy. If volatile ammo is on and this hits an ammo box, it will explode. I don't know if you knew that. You have to find an ammo box and blow it up.
I didn't know that until no one told me. And I was playing against somebody, and I kept running around loops and loops. And all of a sudden, I ran by an ammo box, and I was like, "Hey, it's open. What's going on? There's an opening." So and then there was like a shield in there, and I was like, "Oh, how'd they do that?" And I watched, and eventually, I was like, "Oh, how they do that?"
This thing looks like an Aliens Marine pulse gun. This rifle.
Looks right out of Halo. Yeah,
very, very much one of those. It's one of the most military of the guns in the thing, outside of the sniper weapon. But anyway, it acts very sci-fi. It shoots out the plasma from the front of the thing, and then when you use it, alt fire, you're using it like a lightning gun, and it has short range but really high damage and burns through your ammo pretty quick. So be careful there.
Yeah.
Then you got the Ripper. The Ripper is a razor blade launcher.
I like the Ripper.
Yeah, you're a fan. You like because it bounces off walls, man. You can get hit with one of those.
A lot of maps, unless you're in some, there's some maps that's really effective in some of them have tunnels. So instead of corridors, there's tunnels, and in the tunnels, that thing is fun because the blades come out and they bounce, or you can shoot and have the alt fire is to shoot and it explodes upon impact. And boy, that thing will just zip around everywhere. It's just fun to watch. It's like a super bouncy ball. It's like a super bouncy ball with blades.
Yeah, it's very crazy. There's the minigun. This has a rapid fire rate, decent accuracy, and then of course increased fire rate, but reduced accuracy. You can use it either way. That game's okay, or that gun's all right. It's just sort of standard. It's nothing major or fancy about it.
That thing is the most. If you go against somebody that's picked up any extra health or armor, you're gonna lose. And I seem like I'm always running against somebody who's done just that.
Yeah.
Just that.
Yeah.
Every time.
That's them's the rules. Them's the breaks.
Yeah, them's the rules. That's how it works, man.
Now let's talk about my favorite gun, the Flak cannon, FLAK, the favorite of most players. It is, it fires molten metal in a wide arc. It's very painful if it hits you. So it does the wide arc thing, or alt fire fires a flak shell, which fragments on impact, kind of a grenade style thing, and it works great.
Yeah,
huge fan. If you want to make you want to make gibs, you want to make blood, you want to make bodies fly everywhere. Yes. This is the gun to use. It's great.
It's a weird gun because it fires like a shotgun, the primary, but it's got like this open barrel where you can see like these grenades that it lobs out with the alt fire, and so it's kind of confusing at first, but it's pretty effective, especially if you're in close quarters. It's pretty good. Yeah. It's not as good as a sniper rifle, but it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. I would recommend it almost above. If I've got a weapon in my hand and I'm like, what do I prefer right now? It's almost always Flak cannon. Love that gun.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about rockets. Every shooter, especially every arena shooter from the era, had a rocket launcher. So did this. This is although this picture's from 3, not Unreal Tournament. But anyway, you get the idea. Fires 1 to 6 rockets in a spread pattern. You can hold down the button to fire more. You can load up to 6 of them. Bam, 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 bam. Shoot them all at once. Or if you do alt fire, we'll throw 1 to 6 rockets, which acts as timed grenades. Same thing. Hold it down for more grenades. Yes. That one's an okay alt fire. I don't like the timer part because people get away. I get more done with the Flak cannon than I do with the rocket launcher. But it's still a good rocket launcher. It does what it needs to do. Launches rockets.
So at its basic, just shooting and firing. If you're a good rocket launcher person, like you played Quake, because Quake's all about the rocket launcher. That's how you do rocket jumps, and that's how you navigate through the maps. It's an effective weapon there, but then it is amusing to load up 4 or 5 of the missiles, and just if you're on like a really big open map and you just kind of stand there and you just have time to to rev it up and just watch all those rockets just kind of and just slowly go across the screen. It's kind of amusing. And I also like loading up those grenades, like you said, with alt fire, and just let them tink, 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 tink all over in a room, like where some people are fighting. If somebody's in there fighting, boom, 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 I just come by and like pass by the door and just go boom, 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 boom.
It's because you're a chaos monster.
Amusement.
Brian
I'm a chaos. I am the Loki of Unreal Tournament.
That's right.
I like the chaos.
That's right. Now let's talk about that stupid ass sniper. It is a sniper gun that looks like something that you have in any crappy Call of Duty or some, it's just a basic ass looking sniper weapon. It's not cool.
It does its job.
Yeah. You get headshots. It's the weapon of choice for campers. It fires a bullet. If you use alt, it will zoom in, and the longer you hold the mouse button, it will zoom in further. So it's like kind of instead of like click, click, or no, maybe it was click, click instead of hold and zoom. I can't remember now. Maybe it was both, actually.
I hold and zoom, especially on something like a big open area, like any like towers where you capture the flag, like facing worlds, and just you can zoom in a crazy amount and just headshot after headshot. It's just like it's freaking insane until everybody figures out, because people get tired of spawning every couple of seconds, going, okay, where's that guy at?
Yeah,
let's go get him.
It's kind of a pain.
Let's go get him.
Now, if you want to nuke somebody, I mentioned the Redeemer earlier. This is a rare thing, unless you'd make a map that's crazy. But for the most part, these were hard to find, kind of hidden away. Rarely more than one on a map. But because it's a mini nuke, and it can be shot down, by the way. So if you sniped it out of the air, you could blow it up and it wouldn't hurt anybody. So you can stop it, but it fires this missile straight forward, or alt fire, you manually guide it so your eyes are kind of in it, and you guide it to its destination. It's a cool gun, but kind of a rare deal. You can do modifiers so that you have nothing but redeemers. I've seen this before. And it's stupid. It's really stupid to play that way.
It's dumb, because I mean there's a really slow moving rocket. It is kind of one of those things, though, especially on a big map where you're kind of like, I got time, I can get away, and it's like, oh no, I can't outrun it, it's coming after me. And it's very chaotic. It's also a chaos maker.
There's a real
you think
fun.
I'd love it, but
you'd think you'd be into it because you like that chaos. I don't know what happened to you. And then the
Yeah.
translocator
Oh,
is basically a gun that shoots a disc. The disc is essentially a remote transporter. So if you've got the gun and
yeah,
you're like, I want to
personal
go over to that hill, thunk, you shoot it over there, it lands, you alt fire, you now teleport to where the thing landed. It's great for getting up high places. It's great for jumping down places where you don't want to get hurt. It's great for being a dick and just pissing everyone off. I always hated it, sort of, but I also understand why people like it, and I think it's fine that it's in there. So
yeah, and you got telefrags too. So like, I think if you hit somebody with it and teleport at the same time, I think you'll kill them. I haven't pulled one off yet, but if you
that
get
is
good at it,
correct.
you can.
Yeah, if they run
Same
over
with-
you,
same with
you
the
can use it. You can use it like a mine.
Yeah.
So you can shoot it down a hallway and have it sit there. And if somebody comes whipping around and runs over it, and you teleport right then, you'll gib them to death by teleporting.
Just like in Quake, you get all these telefrags where somebody teleports in, you both can't be in the same location. So if you're in a spot where they're coming, you're eliminated.
That is true. Eliminated. Speaking of which, do you want to hear some of that? Listen to this here.
Headshot, killing spree, last place, lost the lead. You have lost the match. Meta kill, monster kill.
And it goes on like that. You have just all these amazing lines. Yeah, it's very long. There's no shortage of those, but there's a lady one, and I'm going to play the entire 28 seconds of the lady version. Okay, you tell me what era this was and why this is problematic. Maybe today. All right, here you go.
Play. First blood. Bottom feeder. Headshot. Dominating. Killing spree. Humiliating defeat. Multi-kill. Ultra kill. Monster kill. Rampage. Ludicrous kill. Unstoppable. Godlike. Wicked sick. Holy shit.
I like wicked sick. That is, yeah, this is still a thing, by the way. Yeah, we haven't talked about this part, but Unreal Tournament, get the Game of the Year edition if you can. If you've already purchased it, install it, then you go download what's called the old Unreal patch. Allows you to get online so you can play like we've been talking about. And there's tons of people still developing mods, mutators, and voice stuff like you just did just then. There's people still developing stuff actively all the time. This is still a very active community. It's nowhere near the size it was, of course, but it's amazing the number of people that are still futzing around.
As it should be. I used to go to the Unreal, was it Planet Unreal? What was the name of that website?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was Planet Unreal. Because it's like Quake Planet and then or Planet Quake, and then Planet Unreal. Is that? I think that's what it was.
Oh my gosh, it's still
Planet
up.
Quake.
Planet
Yeah,
Unreal.
they're all still around, man.
Holy shit, this brings back the memories.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're all
Okay.
the stuff they still exist.
Yeah, it's kind of out of date, obviously, and no one's maintaining it very well, but this was the place. I used to have a comic I ran on here. They ran for me.
Yeah.
Years and years ago.
So-
Unreal, that scene was really big, and it was going real good. It was also very antagonistic toward the Quake people. They were very antagonistic toward the Unreal people. It was one of the first times in my internet time where I had seen that kind of tribalism be as raw as it was. It was really kind of rough, and I can't even imagine what it would be like today. It's probably today. It's like
yeah.
I don't know. It's still like Sony versus Microsoft or freaking
Yeah.
I don't know.
It doesn't feel as it doesn't feel as venomous as it once was, though. I feel like there was a real, venom in the things you would say about other people. But it feels like, I don't feel that. It doesn't seem as competitive like it used to be.
Depends on the games.
Out of the scene.
Just
I'm
depends
just out
on
of the scene.
It just
man.
depends on the games, dude. There are plenty of games with like the most
Yeah.
toxic back and forth ever going on.
Yeah,
we just don't see it because we're not involved. But I'm happy to say that I think, in retrospect, again, nothing wrong with Quake 3 Arena. Still a thing you can play, but I think this is a better game in the long run. I just think Epic are kind of lame for making it so irrelevant now. Like,
you can't blame. It's okay. So you can't really blame Epic for what happened in the way that they handled this, because Fortnite was such a phenomenon. I mean, Fortnite had been around; they had been developing it for a long time, and it just happened to. I remember the summer that it happened. It was just a phenomenon that everybody flocked to Fortnite, and of course.
But you know what they could do now? You know what they could do now, though, because they got all that money, is they could even lose money on an Unreal Tournament revival. Just like freaking do it.
But why would you lose money? I've thought about this. I really want it to happen. But what they have done though is they have given the seal of approval and the go ahead with the old Unreal developers who are, maintaining all this stuff and maintaining, the server connectivity parts of it and the quality of life patches and all that stuff. And so by kind of stepping back and letting Unreal Tournament kind of run itself with community, I think that's kind of where it's kind of poetic. I think it's where Unreal Tournament should be, because that's what really made those games so special. I mean, we saw lots. I mean, there was tons of shooters out during this time that died because they were just, single player or, didn't have that community mindset. And look what it's done. It's managed to survive. Man, can you imagine a world? Let's look at an alternate universe where we end up hating Unreal Tournament because Fortnite never happens, and instead they ride the microtransaction dance on Unreal Tournament.
Well, I mean, taunts. You know what it's like. Quake does that with Quake. What's Quake? It's called Quake Champions. Is that the name? Quake Champions is basically
but not
that.
to the size. Yeah.
Well, no, yeah, nothing like Fortnite, because Fortnite is 100% free in the beginning, but you got to go pay for, I think you have to pay for Champions, and then you can buy extra stuff. But let me see, Quake, Champions.
But what if it was all about taunts, man? What if you had to buy? What if you had to buy taunts?
I mean, that
little
was
microtransactions.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. They would do this. Like everything you're saying, they'll do.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I'm fine with that. I don't care. Those models are now here. We're stuck with them. There's no getting around it.
Right. Right.
But just make me a quality product that is also open so people can make some maps and game modes and mods and stuff. Like I want that playground again. And Quake Arena, or Quake Champions rather, doesn't even have that. It's a good game, but it has no modding system. It's all public servers. Like you can't do anything kooky with it. And that's what I miss about the arena shooter era, is letting us all do weird shit.
Yeah.
Let me make a map. Let me make my own version of my office I worked in, which we did. We made a Quake or a Doom, and then later a Quake map.
Everybody did, and we loved it.
Yeah, it was great. And then you had like weird stuff that would show up. I'd go get King of the Hill mods, and my whole life would improve. Like, let us play like that. I heard.
Again. So this is interesting, and it's a little bit off topic, but I just heard it today, and I'm still processing. I didn't have a chance to process it through my mind. But you've heard of Gary's Mod, right?
Sure.
Very, very moddable game. Yeah. It's basically just modular kind of stuff. You just do whatever you want to.
It's just based on Half-Life or the Source Engine stuff and all that.
Yeah, exactly. So I had someone tell me today that one of their friends' kids was visited by the FBI because this kid had visited a map that was in Gary's Mod that was basically shooting up a school. And so the feds came in and interrogated this kid.
Why? That's
under
stupid.
18.
That's stupid. If that map exists, you don't go find the kid who downloaded it and played it. You go find the people who made it. That's what I would do.
And there was some other stuff too, like there was some other buildings that had been there's apparently some kind of push to do this. That, like I said, this is that second, third hand information I got, but I was like, really? Really? All right. I don't think that's how that works. I just don't know. I mean, that is such a small piece of what school shooters do that there was really just Columbine was a big example because they did kind of do that, right? They played video games, they kind of role played a little bit and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but it's not why they were shooters. They were shooters because they were dicks and horrible kids, and their parents sucked and all that. That had nothing to do with the games because they were playing Doom. No. That was like Doom era, right?
Yes.
There's nothing about Doom where I go, oh yeah, let's go shoot up a school. This game has inspired me. It doesn't do that. It's not how it works. You know what I mean?
I didn't mean to sidetrack this. I just thought that was an interesting tidbit that I had not had a chance to think about, and I just wanted to get a little feedback.
Sure. Well,
I do know when I heard it, I was like, oh, hey, nah. Used to interrogating my kid over some, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd be pissed if I was those parents. If they came over and talked to me about a map they downloaded for Gary's Mod, freaking F right off.
Yeah. So anyway, making office maps Boy, that'd be dangerous today, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it might be.
if
I
you
mean, I
made
don't
it-
know. If you did it
yeah,
hyper realistic stuff, maybe that's a problem. But
right.
back then, we're talking about big blocky versions of your toilets and shitty doors that look like Doom doors because that's all you had. You know, you couldn't go and retexture anything back then, or not easily. So I don't know. We're kind of well past that era of here's a very simple map of geographical walls and floors and ceilings. Go nuts.
Right.
Now it's like, oh, they could really make this look realistic if they wanted. And we'd be literally using the Unreal Engine 5 to do it. You know what I mean?
It'd be so unreal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. So yeah, if you're in some kind of office space that you've designed a map for, and everybody in the office space is aliens, and you're shooting them, I think you're solid. I think it's when you start downloading models of teachers, maybe you might be in trouble, where it's like passive teachers walking around, then you're shooting. That might seem like a bridge too far.
Maybe.
But,
I still
yeah,
think it
yeah.
should be. I mean, it's just an expression. It's not the same as actually doing it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to say that's overreach, no matter why they knocked on your door. It's a damn video game. At this stage, we should understand that, and some people in authority don't.
Yep.
All right, real quick here. We should give a little bit of love to Unreal for we wouldn't have any of this without it. It was a year before. Like you said, this was supposed to be an expansion pack, and it ended up being its own full game. And I'm really glad they did that because I think it was, I don't know, I think they had more success by doing that. And I also think they got wind of what Quake was doing. Quake was going to do a third outing, and it was going to be non-story based. And they were like, well, if our main competitor's doing that, we probably can get away with it and sell a whole new game. And I think they were right about it. Oh, look at you and your Dreamcast version. Look at that.
That's right. I got my Dreamcast, and we're talking about the Unreal first one. And also, I played the Unreal tournament that came out for the Dreamcast and the PS2. And I was hoping that the VMU unit would be able to pull up the Unreal logo that pops up on this. I read some interviews with the guys who had worked on specifically the Dreamcast version of this, and they really wanted to do some cool stuff. But the Dreamcast was like a 200 megahertz processor with like 16 megabytes of RAM, and they just were barely even able to make the stupid thing work, much less do cool shit like VM units.
Right.
But I did play this a little bit this week. Dreamcast has one analog stick, 4 face buttons, a D-pad, and playing it was a nightmare. But luckily,
wait a minute,
if
why?
you had
because of the D-pad control or the analog control is no good, or what?
The analog control, because you remember how you had to use and it's got a couple of trigger buttons too. You remember the N64 controller had the C buttons before they replaced it later on with a C stick.
Yeah.
So yeah, you basically look up and down with your face buttons, which are spaced a little far out, so it's not like a D-pad, right? And so you've got to try to do these strafing moves with these, with buttons on each side of the face button. It's just difficult, and it moves slow too, because the speed isn't as fast as or responsive with the first generation of analog stick for these consoles. But you could purchase the keyboard, which I used to have, and mouse for the Dreamcast, and I'm thinking about picking up the keyboard and the mouse here very shortly. They're not too bad. They're not too expensive, but they're kind of high. But I'd be curious how that would play.
I had all those at one point. I wish I could send you my old ones, but I think I sold them.
I know. I did too. The game itself was stripped down, didn't have as many maps. It's not a PC. It's not going to be able to compete with the PC at the time. Couldn't even compete with the PS2, which had faster processor and twice the memory. But I think the Dreamcast had more VRAM, so I think some of the texturing and stuff was better. So in some places, the like just all previous generations, the Dreamcast shined. In some places, it didn't so much. Tough game, but still kind of fun. And the thing I probably like the least about it is the auto aim. Now, we've used auto aim in games recently. You've probably used some, help you out a little bit, get you pointing in the right direction when you're playing a super fast game that wasn't really originally designed for stick controls. This has auto aim, but it doesn't work like you think it would. When in games like now, you would play and you would use auto aim, and so you're basically your person would will turn, right. They'll turn and face the character you're shooting, and then they'll shoot. This one, you can be facing in the entirely wrong direction, almost like at a 35-degree direction away from them. If you hit the auto aim, it just shoots them. You're still facing in the wrong direction. Your reticle is not on them or anything, and it just shoots them. And I'm like, well, that doesn't seem right.
You know what this is? This is an industry begging for dual sticks, and they were about to get them as standard from then on. And
yes,
I would say Sega was not thinking very far ahead when they designed it.
Yeah, and they weren't thinking about these kind of things, but it's not bad. It's okay. I did not try the PS2 version out yet.
Mm-hmm.
I usually play most of my PS2 stuff on my Steam Deck. I just didn't get it loaded up.
Right.
Because the server stuff. Did you know that the server took me almost a week to set up, Scott?
I did know that. That was a lot of work for you. I saw you doing it. I heard about it as it was going on, and I was like, wow, look at all the work he's doing so that I will get in there and kick his ass and make things worse.
Yeah, I love it. And see, that's fine because I don't mind. I wouldn't mind whoever kicks my butt because most of the time I've got my admin hat on and I'm just trying to make sure everybody's having a good time.
Yeah.
As long as everything is working, having a good time, it doesn't matter if you guys frag me. I don't care.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
It's a good time. We're going to play some. I can't wait.
Good time.
So go play it. Unreal, available, however you can get it. And best arena shooter of all time, in my humble opinion. And you might say, well, Scott, what about 2004? Wasn't that the pinnacle? Maybe. I liked it a lot. But there's something about 99 and something about that game that stuck with me in a way that the others didn't. And I really can't
You're
explain
not the
why.
only one because the community around that is the largest of the Unreal communities that are still around. The tournament, the 99 one is definitely the biggest one. That's the one everybody seems to flock to.
Yeah.
People are still playing the others.
Yeah.
That's the one.
That's the one. Now there's
That's
this.
Destroy it.
All right, we're going to switch over here and play a little game with each other, and it's called Guess My Game. Audio from an old game. We tell each other what publisher, what format, platform, in year, that sort of thing, and then we have 3 guesses or questions we can ask before we make our final guess. I'm going to start this week with this sound from a game in the arcade. So, Brian, platform is arcade. Year is 1996.
Ooh.
Genre is competitive shooter.
Oh, now we're talking. Yeah, okay. At the arcade with my competitive shooter.
Publisher is Namco. All right?
Namco.
You know them from, your Pac-Man and your whatnots. All right? Your Tekkens.
No, so this is a Pac-Man competitive shooter. Gotcha. All right.
A bunch of ghosts, just shooting ghosts.
It's called Pac Pew Pew.
Yeah, Blinky's pubes. No, I don't know what it is. But I am going to play some audio. You see if you can figure it out. Here you go. Coming up here is some actual dialogue. Hold on. On the mark. Any guesses yet?
On the mark. So it's all right. So it was arcade, right?
Arcade is
you
correct.
said Namco is a shooter. So it's competitive shooter. So is it a? You say competitive shooter. Do you use a gun though? I mean, do you use a light gun for this game?
No, but
Okay.
Let's say what you fire from in the game is a form of gun. And I did say competitive shooter, so we're in the zone. Yeah. We're in the zone. But
I mean, you didn't even spell competitive right, so I wasn't sure if
what did I do?
Light gun.
What did I write there? Oh yeah,
competitive
server. Oops. Anyway, any other guesses or questions you might have?
Oh no. Okay, so so I got one. It's not really it's the controls are not a light gun, right?
No,
okay,
no.
so that's what we determined.
And definitely
right?
not like an on rails type thing at all. Not even close.
Okay, so it's not on rails type. Okay, so I was thinking, okay, let me think here. Is this a series of games? Like, is this like the first in a series, second in the series?
That's a great question.
Namco,
I don't think so. Let me just verify that.
This is most
quiz.
popular. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Right.
Hold on. Let me see if I can find it.
Do you think? While you're doing that, I'm going to try to pull up what I have for my guess my game.
Yeah, it is not a sequel. There's only one.
Okay, so there's only one. All right, so does it get console ports or is it arcade only?
Arcade only, as far as I'm aware. I do not think it made it.
Oh,
into
interesting.
Any consoles. Yeah, maybe in Japan it did, but it didn't here.
Right.
That's a hint,
Man,
by the way. There's
really...
a little bit of a hint in that.
Yeah.
Japan.
Right. Okay, so that's it. I'm out of questions. PC. No, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong page.
Arcade.
Pulled up mine. Arcade 96 competitive shooter.
Yeah, and if
Namco.
I remember, there might have been a version of this that let you all sit inside a thing to play it, and then there were a number of them
Jeep?
Connected, sort of.
Like a train.
No,
Okay,
you know,
I
like
gotcha.
the way Sega
gotcha.
used to do racers.
I
They'd have,
get you like a competitive Mario Kart or something.
Yeah,
Like the systems were chained together.
Yes.
I got you.
Yes.
Wow,
that.
I don't know. This one's really stumping me. It sounds familiar though, but I think it's just because it's got some of those classic Namco sounds to them.
Yeah, nobody in the chat's got it either, so you're not alone.
I'm gonna go with Warzone.
Let's find out. Is it Warzone? Nope. It's not Warzone. The answer is, you're close though. It is Tokyo Wars.
Tokyo Wars.
Yeah.
Tokyo Wars. Okay.
Tokyo Wars had like full-on tank. It was full-on tank battles inside of Tokyo is what it was. And you were doing like third person just behind and above your tank. Kind of like, I don't know, it's like War Thunder.
Yeah. I remember this. This was those sweet asses. Did we have the orange seats? I'm not sure if I saw this in real life or I've just done some research on it before.
I don't know. I used to love it though. I'd put quarters in it.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought that game was rad. Here, I'll give the chat a little view of what the gameplay was like.
Tokyo Wars.
So you were in this big tank. It was kind of Dreamcasty graphically.
It looks very Dreamcast.
Even though that was before
like Sega
that.
would have.
Yeah, very Sega though, right? Very Sega machine.
Like a Naomi. Yeah.
Yeah. Not too jittery, but not the prettiest of graphics. But it just had a real raw sort of let's go and blow shit up kind of vibe. And you just knew who your enemy was.
But it does kind of have. Yeah, this looks so Sega. It looks like, even though it's not, I know it's not an on-rail shooter, but it's got that vibe, right?
Yeah, it's real time,
like
but
they might have wanted to do it.
Sure,
yeah.
You can almost see Namco like, I don't know if this is true, probably not, but they're working on a Time Crisis sequel, and then they went, you know what? Let's just do a tank game and call it Tokyo Wars. I could be wrong.
Let's call it Tokyo Wars.
But it's basically it's World of Tanks 1996 is what it is. That's how to look at it.
Yeah. It's.
Excellent, Brian. I got your sound here. Do you know what we're playing today? What are my categories?
Oh, absolutely. So here are my clues and hints. This is for the Sega Genesis. The year is 1991, so 5 years before what you had. And it's an action, but the action is listed as action, but it's really 4 kind of mini games in one, and all the mini games are arcade style. But this is not an arcade game.
Okay.
But it's on the Sega Genesis, and it was published by Arena Entertainment.
And
it wasn't the only publisher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's find out when I play the audio here. I like this audio a lot.
I did too. That was what turned me on. It's like, oh yeah.
It's got some crazy stereo split stuff going on.
Really good sounding for a Genesis game.
I agree. It's not their usual. All right. Is this a franchise of games, like a series of games?
It is a series of games.
Okay.
There are a series of games.
Is it based on a popular IP or not?
It is based on a popular IP. Is that 2?
That's 2. Who'd you say published this? Arena Entertainment.
Arena Entertainment. Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. I have a vague memory of what those guys were up to.
I can give you the developer if that would help, because I don't know how much the publisher would help you, because there was several publishers of this, but I will tell you the developer was Probe Software.
Oh, Probe was here in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to work there. I tried to get a job there.
Oh.
Didn't work.
Give me a job.
All right. Probe. I have one question left, right?
Do it. Give me one more question. Yes.
Okay. Is it based on an action movie franchise?
Yes.
Ooh. Okay, I'm going to completely guess here because I don't know for sure. Let me hear this one more time.
Give me.
I'm getting Predator vibes, so I'm going to say Predator.
Oh.
This is Predator.
Oh. Is it Predator? Scott played that thing that says. Meow.
Oh. I got it wrong. What is it?
Yeah, I just posted in the Discord server for you to take a look as the video to the Back to the Future
this is
Part
Back to
3
the
for the
Future
Genesis
Part
playthrough.
3. What? Is this real?
This is the real thing, man. That's
I don't
what I said. I
remember
was like, I
this.
was digging through stuff. I was like, what came out in 91? Because I was kind of went year first. And I was like, I don't remember this game at all. And I was like, oh, this is terrible. I love it. I want to play this game now.
I don't remember this at all. There's Doc Brown
Look
on a
at-
horse. There's
Don't you? I know. And I love it when Doc Brown and the thumbnail is fantastic of Doc Brown and Marty. It is just.
Oh, it's the best.
Ah!
Yeah, it's the best. It doesn't really even look like them. I didn't know they made one. This is news to me. I knew there
No,
was
but there's four different basically four different mini games. The first one is Doc Brown riding on a horse, and I think the music I played is the one where they're riding, they're trying to take over a train. That actually looks pretty good because it looks like a shinobi type almost. Because Marty is throwing his bolo hat like almost like a shuriken. He's like,
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
Wow.
The second part looked fun. The horse part looked like shit because Doc Brown is dodging boulders and riding a horse and shooting people. I don't remember that in the movie.
I'm guessing this didn't review well, if I had to guess.
It did not do great. Also had the it had like a shooter portion of it, which is really old arcade stuff where you're doing the what's the gallery shooting?
Yeah, shooting
with
ducks.
like ducks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, was any of this even in the movie? You know what this is like?
I don't
It's
remember
like they tried to make like a Tron style game where there's all these different games
Yeah.
to play. Like not Disc of Tron, the other one. Just straight
Yes,
Tron.
they got. Yep, exactly. And this is kind of it looks like Discotron right here. The final game type is but they've got four different game types with some cut scenes with with Marty and Doc, and it's a really weird game.
No
It looks like
memory of
trash.
this at
I
all.
can't wait
It
to
does
play
look like trash.
Yeah, me
I'm
either.
sure it reviewed very
Yeah.
poorly. Let's see the video game. I'm going to look and tell you. Reception.
But the music was superb. I really like the music though.
Here you go. Game was reviewed in 1992 by Dragon Number 180 as a magazine. Let's see, it was in the Roll of Computers column, and it says the reviewers gave the game a 2 out of 5. Let's see, it got a 2. Let's see, it received a Crash Smash Award and got to number 2 in the sales charts in July of '91 behind Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the same publisher at the time. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
I didn't even know it was a thing. Had no idea. News to me.
No.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that
news
movie,
to
by
you.
the way.
Yeah.
I'm actually a fan of that third movie. I like it.
I can never decide. I have to be in a mood to watch it. If I'm not in a good mood, I'm like, oh, this is dumb. I'm gonna watch the first two. But if I'm in a good mood, it's like, yeah, this is fun. This is fun.
But what
it's
if
kind
you-
of like
I
Return of
hate
the
them.
Jedi. Return of the Jedi is a lot of fun, but you can look and go, well, am I looking at some Muppets? What is
Yeah,
this?
it's a Muppet movie. That movie's so full of Muppets. I don't like the second Back to the Future at all. I hate that movie.
I kind of like it. It's kind of dark.
I hate
And
it.
once again, I got to be in a mood. I can always watch the first one. Always
No,
watch
the first one's
one.
in my
second one-
list. The first one's in my list of perfect films. It's a perfect movie.
Yeah.
Second movie is a very
The sec-
imperfect film, and the third movie's okay.
I
my opinion.
kind of like the darkness of the second occasionally. But once again, I'm not always in the mood. Just like 3, I'm not always in the mood.
Mm.
And I definitely am not watching 2, then 3. You can
No.
forget that. I'm never in that kind of mood.
I'm never in a mood to watch all 3. I'll watch one. I'll watch one twice. You know, the first one twice.
I'll watch 1 twice.
Yeah.
That's right. I'll watch 1 3 times and call that a trilogy.
Yeah, call that my weekend. All right, well, let's guess my game. We'll do more of that next week. Both of us lost this week, and that's okay. It's okay.
That's okay. We
Welcome to the
learned.
treasure
We learned. We always learn, Brian. We learn. And we also get emails, texts, phone calls, this kind of stuff from our listeners. And we got one from Wooj Man in our community, who we like a lot. Very
Wooj,
cool
I
dude.
love Wooj.
Wooj is
Just
great.
talking to Wooj today.
In fact, Wooj is the one that told me to go give Mania a try for Sonic, and he was right. It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, he sent in a call, and we're going to hear what he has to say right now.
Hey, it's Woodman. Just calling to run something by you two, Scott and Brian. I was watching the film, the classic from 1992, A Few Good Men, starring Tom Mathpower Cruise. The thing I noticed is about midway through the film, he's got an NES sitting on his TV. Is it weird? And this is where I need you two to help. Is it weird that I'm thinking, what does he have in the NES? And that's all I fixate on for the next 5 minutes, to the point where I paused the movie to call my wife into the room to show her. She was not as amazed or as impressed as I was. I'm thinking he's either playing Danny Sullivan's Indie Heat or something really weird and not fun like Wall Street Kid. What are your thoughts? What do you think Tom Cruise is playing in A Few Good Men?
Well,
you can't handle the NES.
No, you can't. I would like to
Right,
say,
can't handle the NES.
I would like to say
Perfect.
right off the bat here that this is something I do with any movie or TV show that features a video game console or a computer game or any of that stuff. I immediately get distracted by it and make all kinds of questions and assumptions. And I'm like, now, wait a minute, that controller doesn't fit because that's a Nintendo game and that's a Sega controller. You guys are cheating. That's not real. Like, I get so up my own butt about that. I did it today.
Yeah.
I was watching this movie called Boss Level with the patrons. You saw some of
we
it too.
watched that. Yeah.
And that movie's got a whole thing where this kid goes to some game competition thing. And there's so much stuff in there that they just hand wave. Like, here's a GameCube controller, but for some reason he's playing a Street Fighter that never was on that machine. Okay, sure. I guess I'll just let that go. Like, I get all bunged up about it. I hate it. Drives me nuts.
Yeah. So my imagination is that Tom Cruise is playing Top Gun for the NES. One of the most abundant games you'll find on the NES. If you want to start a collection, start with Top Gun, because
what do you mean
it's
abundant? What does that mean? Tell me abundant. Oh, you mean they're out there. You can get a hold of it.
They're out there.
Yeah.
There's tons of them, easy to get and access.
Yeah.
But I would like to think he's playing Cliffhanger, because we played that here on the show. He's doing a little, he likes to hang off cliffs and stuff. And then, he's a Stallone fan, right? That's the thing, right?
Well, is Cliffhanger older or newer than A Few Good Men? I can't remember when that came out.
I would say that's a good point.
I don't remember.
It's got to be around the same time, right?
Cliffhanger.
Let's take a look. Let's do some research.
Cliffhanger is 93, so Cliffhanger came out a year later, so it wouldn't be Cliffhanger.
Oh, unless he got an early copy.
Well, it's possible, I suppose. I always forget that Cliffhanger feels 1,000 years old to me compared to, say, Jurassic Park, which is the same year.
I was thinking Cliffhanger was even older than that. You're right. I would have thought it was much older than that. I guess I'm wrong. What do I know?
Yeah, what do you know? You don't know things.
What do I know? Nothing.
Michael Rooker's in that. John Lithgow, Janine Turner. What a movie, man. What a movie.
So horribly good.
I love it. I do not have complaints about Cliffhanger. No. But I do. Rennie Harlan movies are a hit and miss for me, but that one worked for me. Okay. Anyway, well, there you go. Thanks for your voicemail. You can do that anytime, everybody. 801-471-0462. You can email us, playretroshow@gmail.com, or you can leave a text at the number I already gave you. So feel free to do all of that. Everything else you can find at Play Retro over at frogpants.com/playretro. Hey, check this out. We're doing Superman 64 next week. How does that sound to you?
What? I can't play that game. What's the like?
Nothing. Apparently, it's supposed to be, it was bad and is still bad, but we're not so concerned about a bad game as we are the story behind it and how it got made and why.
Yes.
And all of that is fascinating.
And what went wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. It's real bad.
Because I had seen where people had said, oh yeah, the Superman 64 is the worst Superman game. And I was like, okay. But then it got elevated to worst N64 game of all. And I was like, oh, so this is the bottom of the barrel? Mm-hmm. Wow. I thought Aquaman on, what was it, the GameCube? Where was Aquaman at? I thought that was more fun than people gave it credit for. So I was hoping maybe.
Well, Aquaman wasn't as hated, but Superman was truly hated.
No.
People really disliked
Awful.
it. Yeah. There's a whole thing about it. We're going to get into it. And also why I think Superman games are hard in general. They're hard to make.
It's really hard to make. And I was actually thinking a little bit about this. I don't want to give too much away, but there was a game last year that came out that wanted to combine Crazy Taxi with Fifth Element.
Oh,
so it's basically you're driving the Fifth Element taxi in Fifth Element type world, like a Crazy Taxi game.
What is that? I want to play
and
that. It sounds like fun.
Yeah, was it high? Is it High Rise Taxi or something like that? Anyway, it was the one-man development team, and it was highly anticipated. And then when it came out, it got shat upon because flying is hard to do in games.
It can be, but I played plenty of good games where the Fifth Element car thing worked, so it can work.
Yeah,
I think that's just a matter.
And this was last year.
Was it? I don't remember this at all.
Yeah. Oh man, I feel like I could make another whole show here because we haven't even talked about City of Heroes and those servers being back up again and stuff.
Oh yeah, those are back.
Community.
Yeah. Well, they never left because that private one was up. It's just that NCSoft is now endorsing it. They're like, you can have it. Go for it.
Yeah. They used to hide. It was so much fun. You used to have to go to forums and, hey man, can I get an invite? I want to play on the City of Heroes. Shh. We don't talk about City of Heroes server.
Yeah. No, that was like the WoW private server, same thing for a while there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of anyone else, but not that uncommon, I suppose. But
I do want to talk about that sometime in the future.
Yeah, we will. We'll put that one in there. But for sure, Superman 64 next week, and we're gonna figure out what went wrong and maybe how that can finally work. It works in ensemble games like what were those ones that the Mortal Kombat game people made? I forgot the name. Injustice 1 and 2 are really good games.
Those are so good.
They feature Superman, but it's not all him. And they're fighting games. It's just different, right? Superman is in the new Kill the Justice League thing. But again, he's just a part of it. Will there ever be a good, here's Superman playing Superman, let's just do nothing but Superman? I don't know. There's a problem with being omnipotent and all powerful. It's really hard to make a movie or a game or a cartoon or any of that stuff. So
they're supposed to be moving forward right now on the new Superman movie that's supposed to start the next phase.
Yeah, that's already filmed.
Whatever they're doing over there.
Yeah.
What's that?
They're filming that now. What's going on?
They just started filming it this week, I believe. They had just, or I guess production. I don't know if they are necessarily filming, but they're doing stuff. It's moving forward. It's going. It's moving.
I'm looking forward to that personally. I like James Gunn a lot. I think he can pull it off.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's next week. Superman 64. In the meantime, please join us on our Patreon, patreon.com/playretro. Be like Mark Ellison, DP, and Michael Burrier. These are just three of our wonderful patrons who've all learned what it's like to have no commercials and pre-show content and other fun goodies just by signing up. Real cheap, no big deal, super simple to support your favorite retro gaming show. That's over at patreon.com/playretro. Brian, is there anything else you want to talk about before we go?
Yeah, don't forget to head over to retrogib.com. That's GIB.com to get all the server information. We'll be running that as long as people have interest in it.
Yeah,
so
I'm gonna be getting all up in that shit. I'm telling you right now.
Getting up in it.
And remap your controls to WASD because it's a nightmare if you don't. Okay, don't play with arrow keys. Like who plays with arrow keys? Nobody.
I heard from a few people, and they said, "Yeah, I like to do it that way because it was spaced out away from the rest of the keys." I'm like, "Whatever, you weirdo."
Yeah, you weirdo. Get out of here, weirdo. Just kidding. Do whatever you want, but it's over there for the taking. That's gonna do it for us. Thank you all for listening. Go play something retro, and we'll see you next week.
Get more at frogpants.com. All I have left is vengeance.
Oh, aren't you serious?